In our modern world today, it's hard to go a day without encountering an Apple product. But do people really know the story behind the modern-day Renaissance man that is Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs showed an interest in electronics at a young age. While in high school, he called Hewlett-Packard co-founder and president William Hewlett to ask for parts for a school project. Hewlett, impressed by Jobs, offered him an internship at Hewlett-Packard. It was there that Jobs met and befriended future co-founder of Apple, Steve Wozniak. After graduating from high school, Jobs enrolled in Reed College but dropped out after one semester. He had become fascinated by Eastern spiritualism, and he took a part-time job designing video games for Atari in order to finance a trip to India. Upon returning to the U.S., he renewed his friendship with Wozniak, who at the time had been trying to build a small computer. Jobs wanted to grasp the marketing potential, despite that, to Wozniak it was just a hobby. Jobs eventually convinced Wozniak to go into business with him. So in 1975, the 20-year-olds Jobs and Wozniak set up shop in Jobs' parents' garage, dubbed the venture Apple, and began working on the prototype of the Apple I.
It's the Industrial Revolution. No more decks, no more mainframes. That changes everything.
It's pretty cool, I guess. Hi, Charlene.
Cool.
Hello.
It's profound. How did you not tell me about this before?
No, I was just working on it for my own. It was a hobby.
Exactly. For your own. For you. It's what you wanted. It's what your gut, your instinct wanted. Your big evolved brain wanted something that didn't exist, and so you just willed it into existence. What do you call the system?
The operating system?
The operating system. And
That's
it
what
just
I call
shows...
Yeah, it's just a real-time display of current operations.
You can see what you're working on while you're working on it.
Okay.
Don't you get this? This is freedom. This is freedom to create and to do and to build and as artists, as individuals.
Look, you're overreacting. Even if you were developing this for freaks like us, and I doubt you are, nobody wants to buy a computer. Nobody.
How does somebody know what they want if they've never even seen it?
You know, if we're gonna do this thing, we need to come up with a name. Something.
Yeah, I know.
Something catchy. Something.
I've been thinking about it.
Electric.
It needs to be like, I don't know.
Yeah, what about enterprise computers?
No. No Star Trek names. I swear, I will drive this car right off the road. I will run the car right off the road.
Jesus, calm down. Seriously. Okay, nothing Trekky, Jesus.
It just needs to be like something that people will relate to, you know? Like, it needs to be something that you see and you're just like, man, I just gotta have it. Apple.
Excuse me?
Apple.
Apple like the fruit?
The fruit of creation. Apple. It's simple but sophisticated. It comes before Atari in the phone book, too.
That is so much better than phaser beam computers.
Apple eventually generated enough cash to improve their design. So in 1977, they introduced the Apple II, the first personal computer with color graphics and a keyboard. Apple II was a tremendous success, ushering in the era of the personal computer. But by 1980, Apple's shine started to wear off. Increased competition caused the company to lose nearly half its market to IBM, but that didn't stop their visionary. Jobs introduced the Apple Macintosh in 1984, the first personal computer to feature in a graphical user interface controlled by a mouse.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification directives. Created for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of any contradictory thoughts. Unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
In 1983, Steve Jobs clashed with Apple's board of directors and was thrown out by CEO John Sculley, whom Jobs had handpicked to help him run Apple. Stripped of all power and control, Jobs eventually sold his shares of Apple stock and resigned in 1985. In 1986, Steve Jobs purchased Pixar Animation Studios from George Lucas. Jobs set out to create the first ever computer-animated feature film, Toy Story, which became a huge hit when it was released in 1995. In 1996, Jobs took Pixar public and it became worth $1 billion. Meanwhile, in the absence of Jobs, Gil Amelio was appointed as the new CEO of Apple. Amelio was placed in the center of a huge mess, and he concluded that Apple had a shortage of cash, low-quality products, and had an undisciplined corporate culture. As an act of desperation, Amelio decided to buy Next and reappointed Jobs to Apple's board of directors. They hoped that Jobs could help turn the company around, and he did. Amelio resigned and Jobs took over as CEO and once again in charge of Apple. Jobs struck a deal with Microsoft to help ensure Apple's survival. Under the arrangement, Microsoft invested $150 million. Jobs began to develop iMac, a line of affordable home desktops, which came out in August 1998. Under Jobs' guidance, Apple quickly began making a profit again. Against all odds, Steve Jobs pulled the company he founded and loved back from the brink. Apple was once again ready to create products that would change technology forever.
In 2001, Jobs and Apple revolutionized the world of technology once again through the introduction of the first iPod, a palm-sized, hard drive-based digital music player. Soon after the first iPad was released, its sales skyrocketed because of its enormous storage capability and its ability to download music quicker than any other product that the world had ever seen. Jobs was quoted as saying that people love the iPod because you can fit your whole music library into your pocket.
iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket.
Despite the overwhelming success of his company, in 2003, Jobs discovered that he had a neuroendocrine tumor, a rare form of pancreatic cancer. Jobs postponed a surgery until 2004 when he made the decision to have surgery to successfully remove the cancer. True to form, Jobs disclosed little about his health.
However, Jobs' health problems did not stop him. In 2007, Apple released the first iPhone, and because of its touchscreen, virtual keyboard, and sleek design, the iPhone soon became the most successful product in Apple's history. Today, the money made from the sale of iPhones accounts for around 50% of their annual revenue. Due to the wild amount of success that the iPhone had, there was a complete reshaping of the cell phone industry. Today, out of the 90% of Americans who own cell phones, 58% of them are smartphones, which happened mainly because other companies saw the success that Apple had, and therefore began to try to copy their design, hoping to have the same amount of success that Apple did. Since 2008, Steve Jobs with Apple has released multiple new products such as the iPod Nano, the iPad, and MacBooks, but sadly in October of 2011, Steve Jobs passed away due to complications of his return cancer.
Even after Jobs' passing, Apple still continues to be a revolutionary company, not only in the United States, but also in the whole world. Jobs was also the driving force behind Apple. He helped create it, and he even saved it from the brink of bankruptcy. Steve Jobs was a passionate and dedicated man. He believed in living every day to its fullest, and that's exactly what he did. He encouraged others to follow their dreams and to believe in themselves. Steve Jobs was a visionary and has set a good example for future generations. Today, we all participate in the world Steve Jobs created. Without him, there's less of us. The technology he has created has become a big part of our modern-day society and will continue to live on through future generations. His technology lives throughout every product in our world today, whether it be an iPhone or an Android, a Mac or a PC. In other words, Steve Jobs is a legacy.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.